Hello, grade fives. Today we are going to be looking at elapsed time, which is simply the amount of time that passes from the beginning of an event to its end. Time is another form of measurement. We measure time in seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. We measure with clocks, calendars, moon cycles, seasons, tides. Today we are going to look at how we can find elapsed time or duration, how long something is. Today we're going to look at one strategy. Today we're going to use a number line. And tomorrow we'll continue with the number line, but we'll also begin to use a clock. And as we move forward, we'll look at strategies that don't involve as much work. But today we're focusing on the number line. Let's look at this problem. Bobette got to her gymnastics practice at 4:30 p.m. and left the gym at 8:08 p.m. How long was Bobette at gymnastics for? So we are trying to find the duration of time that she was at her practice. We can use a number line to do this. This is just one method and the method that we are going to be focusing on today. So here's the problem again. Step one is to create a timeline. So you can see here I have a timeline. I'm going to add the information I have, which in this case is the start time of 4:30 p.m. and the end time of 8:08 p.m. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to skip count by hours and minutes so I know how long it takes. You can see here I've drawn a little picture. This red mountain or triangle will represent an hour. This purple hill will represent 10 minutes. This small blue hill is 5 minutes. This little green circle or pebble is 1 minute. And I also added this, pink or purple triangle to represent 30 minutes. Some of us will be comfortable skip counting in 30 minutes. Others will not. Others may only want to use the 5s and the 1s, and that's fine too. So let's figure out Bobette starts at 4:30 and she ends at 8:08. So I can add an hour to take me to 5:30. Another hour would take me to 6:30. I can do another hour to take me to 7:30. I can't do another hour because that would take me past the finish time, which is 8:08. It's 7:30, so I could, if I'm comfortable, use a 30-minute time block to take me to 8. And then from 8 to 8:08, I need 5, 6, 7, 8 for 8 minutes. So this one here would have been 8:05 and then 8:06, 8:07, 8:08. So I have reached the end. So now I just have to add these up. This is 1, 2, 3 hours. Oops. So there's my 3 hours and 30, right? This is 30 minutes. So 3 hours and 35, 6, 7, 8. So 3 hours and 38 minutes. That's a long gymnastics practice, though I would imagine that's how long gymnastics practices take. All right, let's try another problem. Miss Eastwood left for dodgeball at 6:45 p.m. and arrived home at 8:52 p.m. How long was Miss Eastwood at dodgeball? So similar to before, you're going to create your timeline. So just a straight line. Add the information we know. We know the start time. We know the end time. So she started at 6:45. She got home at 8:52. How long was Miss Eastwood gone to dodgeball? So 6:45, I can add an hour. That would bring me to 7:45. I can add another hour. That will bring me to 8:45. I can't add 10 minutes. I can add 5. That would bring me to 8:50. So 8:50, and then she gets home at 8:51, 8:52. So now I just need to count up what I have. This is 1 hour, 2 hours. So 2 hours. Oops, I don't know why that always comes down there. 2 hours. And the blue is 5, 6, 7. 2 hours and 7 minutes. Miss Eastwood was at dodgeball for 2 hours and 7 minutes. Okay, let's look at another problem. If Jennifer needs to get to her video game tournament at 1:45 and it takes her 3.5 hours to get there, what time is she going to leave? So we're again going to create the timeline and we're going to add the information that we know. At this point, we only know the start time, so we're going to add that. Next, we're going to skip count by hours and minutes and write in the time as we go because we're trying to find out what time she has to leave her house at. So in this case, we're actually counting backwards because she has to be there at 1:45, but it takes her 3.5 hours to get there. It's an awfully long ways to travel for a video game tournament. But anyways, let's figure out what time should she leave her house. So I'm going to count backwards by an hour. Ooh, maybe not. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that would get me an hour before 1:45 is 12:45, 11:45, and 10:45. So there's my 3 hours. 1, 2, 3. And then 3.5 hours, so 30 minutes. 1, 10, oops, 20, 30. So that would be 10:45, 10:35, oh my, 10:25, and 10:15. So she has to leave her house at 10:15. Now, of course, if you want to be a little bit early and not arrive exactly at 1:45, you would probably leave a little bit earlier, but this would be exactly 3.5 hours before the time she must be at her tournament. If you are comfortable counting in half hours or even 15-minute intervals, you might do this part a little bit differently. Okay, so let's look at it in a different way. So, bye-bye. So we could still put the 3 hours on right away and count back 3 hours. So 12:45, 11:45, 10:45. You might be able to go, okay, 10:45, this will take me 15 minutes. 2 15 minutes is 30. And I know that 10:45 would go to 10:30. And then another 15 minutes off would give me my 10:15 time. You might also have a really good concept of time, and you might go straight from 10:45 to 10:15 and know that that's a half an hour. And so 1, 2, 3.5 hours. Counting back, 12:45, 11:45, 10:45. Half an hour away goes back to the 10:15 and done. Today you are going to be working on elapsed time on number lines. You have maybe 8 to 10 questions. You're going to complete each page. Show your work or your timeline, so how you skip counted, and then check your answers. The answer key is not going to have on something that looks like this because it might be different for each of us. It's just going to have like an answer like this, like 10:15 or 4 hours and 5 minutes. If you have it wrong, it's your job to bring this up in class to see what went wrong or to chat with someone at home to help you out. So for example, on this line, Emma started ballet practice at 4:25. It ended at 5:05. How long was her ballet practice? You want to put on the information you know first. So I know that it started at 4:25. I know that it is ending at 5:05. And then you want to draw your mountains, molehills, and little pebbles to get from 4:25 to 4:05.